This will be a short video on how to look up things on YouTube by sorting by upload date. In this case, I did a search query, and at the end I add ampersand SP equals capital CAI, not CIA, it's CAI, and then it uses percent 25, which actually just translates to the percent symbol, and then 3D. And I'll include, that part that you add to any of your queries on YouTube. Beware that YouTube will add tracking data to every single thing and call it something else. So anyway, I looked up Oregon gun DIY. Now this used to have a very different set of results, but we're showing when I sort it by upload date, which it tends to, it doesn't like it when you look up things and it will play it being broken. It's not, it's literally doing that to just make sure you can't, to make sure you stop trying to look things up. It shows the latest video on the subject that talks about budget build a year ago. Now remember, it says a year ago. Now it doesn't have any kind of pop-up that actually says the time and date stamp. I want to point out that if it simply had a 4-digit year and a 4-digit month and day, that would be 8 characters. That's 4 digits for year. Ago with a space would also be 4 digits. So it'd be just a little bit longer for them to actually just use the time and date stamp, even an abbreviated one with the really horrible 2-digit year thing that caused so many problems back during Y2K, even that would fit in there better than it saying approximately a year ago. This is the vagueness that every social media page craves because it causes them to have power over you. Anyway, so we get one result. Then we go here, terrible ghost gun, DIY gun, ban upheld by federal court. And I'm presuming, since it says Oregon Federal District Court, it's mentioning it. Now, this is what you get if I look it up, again, using sort by upload date, or just sort by date, or whatever it would say, if the drop-down wasn't sabotaging itself willfully. Here we go with concealed carry mistakes. It has nothing to do with DIY or even the word gun. And is it from Oregon? Doesn't look like it. Black label gun build. Again, we're talking about firearms again. Now, this has nothing to do with firearms. This has to do with the fact that if I sort by upload date, I can find something a year ago. I can find something. But the excuse being, we have to sort by, well, let's look at today. This is the last 24 hours. This is the code at the end. It's SP equals and a bunch of characters. And it's actually even more data. And it includes the percent 3D written as percent 25, which translates to percent, and then 3D. And if you're not aware of it, percent and ampersand are used for adding extra argument characters, like doing a search query about this subject, and then ampersand SP would be sort order or something, I guess. Okay? Now let's look up within the last month. Nothing. Now that matches what we're getting here. We're getting only things a year ago. But I'm not having to go through clicking 2 or 3 or 4 different search formats. I can just sort it this way and immediately get the correct answer. And I get to look at what I want. Now we're going to go from 1 day, 1 month. Now we're going to look at 1 year. And I get a video that's about Oregon hunting at a DIY hunt, he says. That's not the subject matter, and they damn well know it is. And here we get another one, Tenacity Firearms Oregon Cougar Hunt. So we can get, basically what happens is if you do what they demand by using these features, again, it will sabotage it. You don't get to find what you were looking for, which was, what was the last day anybody use that wording for a video on the subject matter I'm actually looking up. It could be anything else, like Oregon DIY, and then I'll put in percent 20, and then LAWS. Now I'm looking up Oregon DIY gun laws, but I'm putting it in a different order. And that might have an effect. If we put it in a different order, we get something else. Now what we do is we get almost the same, timing. Ghost gun ban effective. And again, it's not a ghost gun. These are DIY guns. The word ghost gun has been used exclusively in the legal system to mean a gun that was built legally but had the serial number ground off. It's not including home-built guns, which by law on a federal level do not required you put a serial number on them. They haven't required them at all. That has not been a rule. Oregon Gun Ballot Measure 114 law, what you need to know, talking about this being used. And again, they keep showing Biden's face. Okay, who's the tyrant currently, by the way? Then it all goes all the way back to 8 years ago. I have a video named Oregon Gun DIY Laws or Oregon DIY Gun Laws or do-it-yourself gun laws by, pun intended, double entendre with a backflip, about Oregon people and everywhere else, you're allowed to make laws. Remember, 114, even though I don't agree with it, was voted on by a majority of the people in the state. And no one showed up to vote against it? Well, no, it barely passed. And this has been treated as a mandate. And there was another law that was done about, a little while ago, well, actually a long time ago, where they misinterpreted the law and created a new set of laws that make it to where building a gun yourself from raw materials, which is the only way you're supposed to do it by federal law, is somehow illegal now too. And now they're patting themselves on the back until they give themselves a dislocated shoulder, saying they're restricting more stuff. And again, when I look it up here, let's try putting in law. DIY, gun, and I'm just going to put in plus sign this time, law. You can use that instead of, other things. So we hit that. Let's see if it shows us anything in the last year. Now remember, YouTube is now a censorship engine, not a search engine. And it's 2 months ago. Oregon gun law, okay, Oregon gun law, okay, and it's about 114, and that almost always tags to DIY. But yeah, no results in the last year versus, a year ago. Yeah, right. No one's been discussing this any more than a year ago, 3 years ago, and 8 years ago. Now, if I don't put in a time and date stamp filter, do I get anything recent? It's even more harem-scarum, and YouTube and Google feel free to organize it by whatever methodology they want, but you can find it. But it won't let you tell it, I want you to sort it by the latest news, because you can't do that. This has nothing to do with Oregon DIY gun laws or Oregon DIY builds of guns or whatever. This has to do with censorship through systematic processes. This is all about censorship. Oh, wow, I think we even lost one there. But anyway, yeah, you're not allowed to look up things if the entities, corporations, whatever, that are responsible for gatekeeping the information won't let you look up shit. Okay? And again, this is YouTube. Well, we're not a news source and we're not a search engine. Well, if you do it as a search engine, it doesn't even permit sort by recent, recent or time and date stamp of the posting. You have to go to the news page, and it will deliberately bring up stuff from 5 years ago as recent. Why? Because it's about hoarding information. Okay? Now, if you bring up an alternative to YouTube for looking up stuff like BitChute or whatever, their search engines for their websites are deliberately broken because they want to manipulate results there too. I don't know of any of them that aren't doing that. Okay? So I just wanted to bring up that literally everything about this behavior, right down to sabotaging the ability to even bring up this menu most of the time, all of this is designed to make this as hard as possible to look up. Popularity and relevance. Relevance is them actually, paying attention to the words you're looking at. Popularity is whatever the most views went to a video that mentioned any of this at all in some way. Versus sort by upload date, which honestly works better. It's deliberately limited, but at least we can get something out of it. Now let's type in Oregon gun law, and we're not using the plus sign, we're using the %20, which is the space function, because YouTube deliberately changes it up every once in a while so there's nothing consistent, so they can always claim, oh, we found no results. Okay, 5 days ago, this is on topic, but not for home built or craft built. If you type in the precise term that's used by the Federal Bureau of Investigations and the ATF, which means it's an agreed upon term, craft built firearm or personally made firearm PMF or something. The one they actually have you put down as an initialism on paperwork when you get the thing stamped with serial numbers, if you want to do that, if you're not aware of. If you put that in there, you're not going to get any results, or maybe you will. It really depends on what throw of the dice this dungeon crawler like interface has. I just wanted to point out again, for the umpteenth billion goddamn time, if you're on YouTube, you are fighting an uphill battle up shit creek trying to find information. And if you find a good source for information, don't bother subscribing. They will kill off your subscriptions or even flag you for subscribing. Just bookmark them. And again, every single one of these social media sites is doing this for money and for manipulation and power. And whoever happens to be in charge at the time is the one they're sucking up to. It doesn't matter who it was. No, you can't blame Biden if it also happens while Trump's in charge. Okay? Especially since they have no power. Because they don't. Idaho, I said Ohio. Idaho gun laws 226 ranked worst in the U.S. Don't move there yet. Why would anybody... What are you talking about? Oh, okay. They wanted to be like us. And this, who cares? By the way, I want to point out something. Anybody with a political bias or ideological bias, I'm a flaming liberal. But I want us to have the right to keep and bear arms by making them. And there's no sign of that ever changing in the past or now. Versus people who will take everything and make it about Clarence Thomas, apparently, or Trump, or where's Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden again? How long do we have to go before we see a Joe Biden comment? At least then, well, there's Cullen Noor. There we go. He's a guy. He's a useful source. Biased as hell, but he's good. Okay, don't like him. He's good though. He actually gets to the point, and honestly, his opinion is clearly his opinion, and the facts are clearly facts, and he separates them. They live in state. This is my opinion. You don't have to agree with me. If you don't, you're an idiot. But okay, fine. It's no different than me. And again, Oregon gun laws sorts, but Oregon DIY gun laws are suppressed. Well, we don't want to. Yeah, you don't want us looking up if there is a decision on a particular case that I can't look up. Anyway, I'm going to shut up. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. You'll need it. And this has been a video on the fact that if you do sort by upload date versus look up stuff from a day ago, look up stuff from a week ago, look up stuff from a month ago, and look up stuff from a year ago, it basically just filters even more. That was the point. It's not an accident. It was intentional. Bye.